Alright, hey guys, I'm back. I haven't done this in a while. We're doing actually a Raspberry Pi video, as you could probably tell from the title and image of this video. Anyway, today I'm going to be actually showing you something I wanted to do a long time ago, how to set up a Raspberry Pi as an actual file server. I showed you how to set up a media server before for an old computer, but this thing uses up a lot less power than a computer, and it's a lot more compact. You can just hide it away, plug it right directly into your router too. Well, yeah, you know what I mean, directly with like wired. So yeah, it's not exactly super easy to set up, but anyway, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you want to do is have a drive that will hold all your media. If you want, you can use a flash drive. That would actually be a little bit easier, but I mean, flash drives only go up to like what, 128 gigabytes, maybe 256. That's not a whole lot of storage. It is quite a bit, but again, it's not that great, and you know, it's not very fast, and flash doesn't last as long as hard drive. Next thing you'll need is an SD card for your Raspberry Pi. You'll need an SD card reader for your computer, of course, but I think it has to be just over 2 gigabytes. You'll be fine. This is an 8 gigabyte card. Plugging this into my computer's SD card reader. Okay. All right, here we go. Our SD card is now plugged in. Alright, now we're going to go to this page, raspberrypi.org/downloads, and we're going to use the noobs downloads, and that's probably going to be the easiest one. Offline and network install has both options. Alright, so just go ahead and click download zip. I've already done that. I think it's on my other monitor. Hold on. Yep. Alright. It says format your SD card using the SD formatter, so let's go ahead and do that. Grab the SD formatter. Here we go, download SD formatter for Windows. If you're using Linux, you don't have to worry about downloading it, or if you're using Linux and you know what you're doing, you don't really have to download anything special. You just have to do a complete format of your drive. You'll know what I'm talking about. But I'm used to using Windows for this setup. Alright, the next thing we need to do is follow the instructions to install the software. Yeah, we know how to do that. I actually think I already have this installed. Let me check. SD, yep. Alright, so basically all you'd have to do is, let me just open this in the background. All you have to do is extract the setup and then run it. And then when it's done running, you just get this thing. Ta-da! SD formatter. It will list your SD cards only, so you don't really have to worry about it picking a wrong drive unless you have multiple removable devices on your computer. And just to show you, remember I said it was 8 gigabytes? This only shows up, basically the main reason we have to use this software, if you're using Windows, you can't just format it in Windows, because look, my 8 gigabyte card is only showing up as 5 gigabytes. So, what we have to do here is go back into SD formatter. Alright, let's click format. And see, look, now it says 7 gigabytes. So basically, if you used this in your Raspberry Pi before, it would show the wrong size. That's why we had to use SD formatter. Alright, and even if you didn't use this in Raspberry Pi anyway, it's a good idea to do a fresh format. So now that we have our drive formatted, this is going to be a little bit of a long video, so I hope you brought popcorn. Alright, drag and drop the noob files. So this is just like the old, I haven't done any Raspberry Pi installations in a long time except from XBMC. So let me just move my preview window over so I can actually see. Alright, good. Alright, basically just drag and drop the files in the zip folder. So remember when we downloaded that noobs thing? If I can find it. Let me just reopen it. Okay. Remember this? What I did was I clicked extract all files, and I just highlighted everything and drag and dropped it into the SD card. As you can see, the write speed is a little bit faster because it's not trying to extract things at the same time. I extracted it separately. So we'll just give it a minute. This is the copying program I use. You can just use the default drag and drop. If your copy looks a little bit different, not a problem. Alright, now that we've finished copying all our files, the next step will be to actually plug in our Raspberry Pi. So like I said, I'm using this software to show you. Got my Raspberry Pi right here, HDMI cable. You can do this on a standard TV if you want. It'll probably be a little bit harder to read the text. And we got our micro USB cable. But first, let's plug in our keyboard and mouse. Got a keyboard right here. You want to use USB for both. Take out our SD card, plug it into the Raspberry Pi, like so. It won't go in all the way. There's a new model that uses a different type of SD card, by the way, but chances are you're using the old one. Just push it in. There we go. It's still sticking out a bit. And start it up. Alright, there's some delay in the preview window, so I might have a little bit of trouble navigating some menus. Since I'll push a button and it'll show up later on. Alright, so first we're going to need to do, of course, is this is the installer. So we're going to need to install Raspbian, which is Debian for Raspberry Pi. This is the main operating system we'll be using. Alright, and there's an optional data partition. It gives us 512 megabytes to work with. Sure, let's go ahead and do that. I'm not sure what boot to scratch means because I don't know what scratch is. I haven't done any normal Raspberry Pi stuff in a while. So, okay. Like I said, there's a delay, so I can't actually see what's going on live. Alright, let's go ahead and install. Warning, the selected operating systems and any other data. That just basically just means it's going to erase everything on our SD card. That's perfectly fine. Alright, and here we go. It's setting up our Raspberry Pi. Pretty easy, but this is just the beginning. Let's go ahead and click OK. Where is my... There we go. Did it move? Alright. Okay. And it looks like it might be restarting. Yeah. Alright. So here we are at this main menu. This is kind of important. Alright. We don't want to boot from scratch. I just saw what that does. It's a programming language. We're not using that for what we're doing. Alright, let's set up language and region settings to match our location. I'm pretty sure the default is the UK. And I'm sure I got viewers from all over the place. So we're going to set our locale first. Alright, here we go. We got this big old list. We gotta scroll down until we find out one of its arrows and then we press spacebar. We are EN-US, if you're where I live in the United States. And EN means English. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, see? Here it says ENGB. That means English Great Britain. That's not the one we're using. So you go up to this. Did I pass it? Nope. One more. And press spacebar to uncheck it. And we want whatever language yours is. First is language, second is region. So, hey, they have Canada here too, that's fun. Where is US? Am I just not seeing it? Oh, it's down here a little bit. I'll point to it on this thing. It's over here. EN-US, there's a few of them. Hit tab. That should take us to the OK button. Now we press enter. You can install whatever ones you want. Like if you want the Great Britain ones, that's fine. Alright, that says like, okay, main packages, select the default locale. For the default, let's just do enus, normal. Hit OK, or enter, sorry. This may take a while. Alright, generation complete. Now we gotta do the other two things too. This isn't super important, but it helps with your clock and stuff. Change time zone. Second. The third one's the most important, that's keyboard layout. Okay, US. For me, just choose wherever you live. Eastern Standard Time is the time zone I use. Alright, now the last one. Is change keyboard layout. This will be especially important when we're typing commands and stuff. Alright. We'll see the default setting. Oops, I pressed down too many times. I think we're on 104 key. Just leave that. And we are English US. So we have to other. There we go, just press down once for English US. And we have a whole ton of options. I'm just going to go up to the top and just use the normal English US. Alright, then press enter on it. Alright, with some Alt-G keyboards. This is asking, I believe, if you have the... Wait. This is if you have special symbols for, like, Spanish stuff on your keyboard. We don't. It's for modifier keys. We have... But we do have a left Windows key. So we go down to left logo key. Actually, this keyboard has two. There's a Windows key here, and a Windows key here. So we'll go down to both logo keys. Although we're probably not going to need them. This is just another thing that's kind of optional. Hit enter. Alright. So this is for if we want to do symbols that can't be found on the keyboard normally. Let's just leave that alone. Press enter for no. So we can have it terminate the, we can make control backspace restart. That's nice. Maybe helpful later on down the line, so I'd say yes. Alright. And now we can set some overclocking options if we want. Since all we're doing is serving files, we probably shouldn't need to. So feel free to skip this part if you want. I have everything time-stamped. Although I am just going to show you just in case you guys want to know what it looks like and how to use it. Just press enter on overclock. Yes, we know overclock can kill your device. Alright, so here are the different options. I am going to say, I'm going to do medium overclock, overclocked to 900 megahertz, or I can do modest. Modest is a little bit of a bump. See, the default for this model is apparently around, I thought it was 800. It says 700 megahertz, not bad. So if I go to medium, that's 900. It's not much of an overclock. I could actually set it up to high if I wanted to, but I want this thing to last a little bit longer. It's only a 2 overall. It boosts the RAM too, the RAM speed, so I'm pressing enter on medium. And it says there you go, it's overclocked, super easy. If only desktop computers were that easy, built into the operating system. Alright, I'm going to switch to take a look at advanced options. Again, it's been like 3 or 4 years since I've actually, I don't even know how long. Basically, the last time I worked at this distribution was like the day after my Raspberry Pi arrived at my house. So here we go. We got host name. This is how you can set your name on a network. I'm going to go ahead and do this. You can do this from the operating system too, but I might as well do it now. This is basically your computer name, where if you're setting up a computer for the first time, I'll ask you a name that will show up as. This is the exact same thing. We call this NAS for network attached storage. Hit enter when you're done. And that's all we should need. So we're going to go ahead and press tab. Then press right arrow to go to finish. Ask us if we want to reboot now. Let's go ahead. Also, if I had not mentioned already, which I don't think, make sure you have annotations turned on when you're watching this video, and for best viewing experience, make sure you're watching in HD, because from time to time I find out stuff I missed, and then if you don't have annotations turned on, you won't be able to see it. Once we have the default network settings and stuff set up, then we'll be able to actually control this thing without having to be directly connected like we are now. Plug into the network. Boom. Alright. So now we grab our keyboard and we'll have to log in manually. This is all command line stuff. So it actually says our name here, NAS. NAS login. Username is Pi. Password is Raspberry. Alright, there we go. And from here, we could type in storedx and have it load up the user interface. We actually don't need to just yet. Okay, for this next part, we're going to be setting the static IP address. I figured out what mine was. Let's go ahead and open up the file we need. Sudo nano /etc/ net /interfaces. Press enter. Alright, here we go. So this is the part where you'll need to fill in the information. So for this video, I'm going to assume you're using LAN. If you're using Wi-Fi, the setup will be a tiny bit different. So we're trying to find the Ethernet part. Here we go. iFace Etho. That means the Ethernet interface or wired connection. Let's make another empty line. But what we'll need to do is we'll need to change this. DHCP means it gets the IP address from the router. Since we're having a server, we don't want it to be changing all the time. So what we're going to do is we'll change this to static. And on the next line, we'll want to type in address address space and then the IP address of the server. You'll want to make sure it's out of the range of your normal stuff. Most routers start with the 192.168.1.1 and go on. So if you have just a few devices in your house, you might want to think about making it 20 or higher. So I'm going to do this one as 192.168.1.25. And right now I'm going to ping to make sure there's nothing in that slot on my network. I doubt there is. Alright, so looks like there's nothing occupying that slot. Alright, so on the next line, you'll need to type in your gateway address. This is just like what you'd find, if you don't know any settings, you can open up command prompt on any computers on the same network and type in ifconfig/all, and then you scroll up to the network. Where is it? Local area network. Here we go. Ethernet adapter, and you see is 192.168.1.66. It is my current device. This is where the computer is located. Here's a subset mask, and here's a default gateway. So you want to have these two lines, the default subset mask and default gateway is the same. So for this next one, like I said, this is your gateway. So we type in gateway space 192.168.1.1. Now we need the net mask, just like I showed you before. Space 255.255.255.0. Hit enter. Alright, now that you have your IP address in, I had changed mine to 29 because remember there's some else on the network. Go ahead and put a space between loopback and static, these two lines. And on your empty line, you will type in, let me just make sure it's in the right place again, auto space ETH0. Alright, now that you got everything set up, you want to save it. Press Control O, and this is actual O as in the letter. Now press enter, and it should be saved. So let's go ahead and hit Control X to exit. And now we want to restart our network. So I got a command for you guys to type in. It's a pretty long one. Here it is, sudo space /etc/init.d /networking space restart. Alright, the next one is the same thing, except instead of restart, we're going to use reload. Alright, let's check it. Let's type in ifconfig. Press enter. And here we go. It says our IP address is 192.168.1.29. Let's go ahead and test that out. We're going to ping it with command prompt. And we're getting a reply, so that means that it's actually connected to the network under that IP address. Our computer can verify that we can see it. Alright, so now we should be able to connect through SSH, hopefully. For this, I'll be using PuTTY, which is a Windows SSH client. Alright, so the name should be pi at, and our IP address, 192.168.1.29. Go ahead and click yes. Pi's password is RASPDERRY. And here we go. Now we don't need this thing anymore. And we're now actually logged into the server. Alright, so the next thing we'll need to do is actually plug in the hard drive and set it up to automatically connect to it on boot. So we can go ahead and do that now. Let me go ahead and pause this and I'll hook up my drive. Okay, so the first thing oops, I have this over here again. The first thing we'll want to do before we unplug it, I just forgot, but I remembered, is we want to actually give the drive a name so it's mounted in the same place every single time. My disk is drive V. Remember we said it's drive V. We're going to call this Media 1. Go ahead and give ourselves admin privileges. And there we go, Media 1. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and unplug this from my computer. Alright, so here's the drive. You don't want to use one of those passport drives for this because those little passport drives with the 2 USB plugs, the Raspberry Pi won't have enough power to power those. So you want something like this that has its own power supply. I know this isn't the best camera, it's actually a $5 webcam. It looks pretty good, it's a small resolution I think, so but this gives you a general idea. It has its own power cord, uses USB to connect to the Raspberry Pi. Alright, since we are connected, we should now be able to see the drive mounted. But first, since it's an NTFS drive, we will have to actually install NTFS utilities in order to actually read the drive. Sudo apt-get install NTFS-3G lowercase g. Alright, we got this installed right here. Sudo space fdisk-l, and then you do a pipe, which is the thing above the enter key, shift, and then press backslash as pipe. See, look, shift backslash pipe. And then do grep ntfs. I'll have a link to all my sources in the description so you don't think I stole it from people or whatever. It's a combination. Alright, I've blocked out some of my information about my specific hard drive, but all you need is the first part here. It's shown as dev/sta1. If yours says anything different, make a note of that because that's the part you'll actually need. So what we're going to do is, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to back up our fstab file. I call it fstab, it's probably a better name for it. So here we go. Here's the command, sudo cp/etc/etc/fstab.bak. That's our backup. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit it. So, nano/etc/fstab. And here we go. This is where this basically tells us what drives are mounted where. So you might not have this line. This line is probably from when I was trying to get the other thing working, the part that's been cut out of the video. So if you don't have a line that has dev/sta1, then you'll just have to go ahead and add one. I'll show you what you need. Alright, so once you have that entire line cleared out, we're going to start with /dev/ and then the partition, which was when we ran the fdisk. I actually forgot to write down the partition, but we remember it as SDA1/media/ and then the folder, and then basically what we want the drive's folder path to be. What we had it before, media 1. Not what we had it before. That's the drive name. So basically, it will mount as the drive name every time. We don't have to worry about anything. So /media/media1. That's probably not the best name I gave the drive, but it matches. Space, and then your not file type, your drive type. We're using NTFS, so we have to type in NTFS minus 3G, since we're using the NTFS 3G program. And then we just do this. DEFAULTS. Trying to read this and type it at the same time. LOCALE equals EN underscore US dot UTF-8 space was tab 0 tab 0. Alright, looks good. And then we'll need to make the folder. So once we have that done, same thing as we did last time, Control O to save, press enter, and Control X to exit. Now we have to make the folder. mkdir/media/media1. And for me, it says that already exists. I was using a different program. Now we just gotta do like this: sudo mount, and then whatever your drive's address was or path was, /dev/sda1. It says it's not mounted. Now we do sudo mount -a. And now let's see if we can find the path. Type in cd to change directory /media. Remember, this is where we're having the drive mounted to. media/media1. Alright, as you can see, we have a folder in there. I put a folder in there while off camera. Let's try to make a new file. Let's try to make a new folder. mkdir test. And look, we have a new thing in there, so it's completely writable. Alright, now we're going to see if it keeps the drive mounted when we restart the computer. So it's going to do sudo reboot. And let's go ahead and check this. When we move back over to the Raspberry Pi, we can see it's actually restarting. Alright, let's go ahead and log in. But since we're already at the login screen, I'm just going to go ahead and use my SSH client. Alright, login is pi, password RASPBERRY. Alright, cd/media/media1. List all the files, and there we go, we still got our file there. Okay, so now that we actually have access to the files on our external hard drive and it mounts at startup, we can now install the server program. This will actually let us be able to access the files when we're on a different computer. You can access on Windows, Linux, or Macintosh because it basically uses the Windows file sharing setup. So to get this installed, let's go ahead on the terminal. Remember, you can do all this stuff from on your Raspberry Pi, but it's a lot easier for me on my to do on my desktop. That's why I'm using SSH. So we're going to use sudo apt-get install, and then we are going to type in Samba, S-A-M-B-A. Hit enter. Go ahead and click type Y for yes, and then press enter again. Alright, now that it's done installing, we're going to have to edit the configuration. Just go to SAMBA. Alright, now you want to type in sudo smb passwd -a and then the username that you're going to make, since we have to create users for this network share. Just like if you're using Windows, you have to have a username and password. I chose mine as David, and then for new password, and then sorry, when you press enter, it will ask you for a password. So I'm just going to do one right now. Then you have to retype password. Alright, it says failed to enter, add new thing. Let's try Pi. It might have to be a user that exists on the computer itself. Okay, yeah, you have to create a user on a computer first. That's why it gave me a problem. So for now, I'm just going to use Pi. If you want, you can create another user on the computer, and then you can make a Samba account for them. But it turns out you just can't pick whatever name you want by default. So I'll give you guys links to all the information you could possibly want on this thing. I'm probably will do a follow-up video later on of more information. But alright, the user was added. Let's go ahead and see if it worked. Go. And then you should be able to go to any Windows computer and connect to the network share. So let's just type in the IP address 192.168. Okay, 192.168.1.29 slash and it actually connected to the server. Unfortunately, we do not have any folders in here yet, so we'll actually have to set that up. Remember, it's etc/samba/smb.config, and we opened it with nano. Alright, just keep scrolling down. Basically, just scroll to the bottom by using the arrow keys, and then paste this in. And paste. Home, and then you'll have path equals. And then for this, we'll just make it a path to our external drive. For me, it will be /media/media1. Read only isn't set to no. That's correct. Control O to write out. Alright, and here's what it would look like if you were on the actual Raspberry Pi itself. I was using this for a change of pace. The SSH client wasn't working for some reason. Alright, so hit Control X to exit. Alright, now we got all that done. Let's go ahead and restart. Do sudo reboot. Hit enter. Alright, and now it says NAS login. That means it's done starting up. Let's go ahead and minimize this and try to reconnect to the server. Refresh. And here we go. There's now a folder called home. And inside it asks us for our password. Oops, I was typing on the keyboard down here again. You can click remember my credentials. I don't know if it actually works. And hey, look, here we go. We got our test folder we made. Now let's try to see what happens when we try to create a text file. New text document. And hello. Save. Close. And go back to this thing. Let's log in. Pi. We're checking to see the files there. I think I hit the wrong key at the end. Oh, no, I got it. Alright, now let's go into that folder. Now we can just open it from here. Nano / media / media1 / what we're doing is we're browsing to the folder of the external hard drive we were accessing, which is media1, and then inside there should be a folder called test that we created. And then what was the name of the file we made? Oh, it's called new document. Yeah, let's change it. hello.txt / and let's see. Look, it says hello. So we were actually able to open a file from our server. Now let's go ahead and edit this. And let's go ahead and write out Control O. Write out means save, basically. You're writing out to the file. Hit enter. Control X. Close it. Wrote 2 lines. As you see down here, it's closed. Let's go back to our media server on our computer. Remember, we had to type in the IP address. And it says, hello, how are you? The reason why it's still on the same line is because Notepad's stupid. And it doesn't use the same formatting. So if we open it with an actual thing that supports Linux formatting, we'll see that it's on 2 separate lines. So okay, we got it working. You guys have no idea how long I spent recording this video because I had so many issues down the line. It's probably been, well, you can tell just by looking at the clock. Alright, and lastly, if you want to not have to type in your IP address every single time you want to connect to the server, you have 2 options. One, you can actually, let me move the microphone a little bit closer. One, you can actually mount your network location as a drive, like how you have C, E, F, and stuff here, or you can just make it a network folder. To make it a network folder, you scroll down, you just go to My Computer, right-click in this window and say Add Network Location, then press Next. Then you'll want to, you can close this. You'll want to click Custom Network Location, and then you'll want the path to your share. As you can see, my IP address is here. I have 2 shares, home and then Pi. Pi would be my user directory, but all my stuff's on my home. Remember, we filled in that location for the external hard drive. So we click on home, and then I can go ahead and click here, copy this, and put it in an internet or network address, paste, press next, and it says NAS server because that's what I call my computer. So I can just take, this is just the name, so it doesn't matter. You can make it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it NAS since that's quick and easy. NAS, boom. And look, now we have a thing under network location called NAS. Just double click it, and there we go. So if you want to make it a drive on your computer, because by default some programs can't see this, and also you'll have it in this weird directory, as you can see here. You can also mount it as a drive. Let's see if I can delete my old one. Okay, forget that. Alright, so to mount it as a drive, all you have to do is just go to the share, which is in your IP address, c//192.168.1.120, and then just right click and say map network drive. Remember, it has to be the one with the little pole on it, not one of your just normal folders. Pick a drive letter. I'm going to pick B since we already have A used up. You'll do reconnected login, so it will connect to the server every single time you log into Windows. And go ahead and click finish. It may ask you for username and password, just like I had to do the first time I signed in, but apparently mine's saved. So if it asks you for your username and password, that means your password on your NAS server. Remember how we had to set up a Samba password? That's what they're asking for. So now, check it. We got a B drive, which is actually my 1 gigabyte hard drive. See, it actually tells me how much space I have left. And then there's a NAS folder, which is just a normal folder. This actually says, look, B:/. So any program support it. It's a lot faster to use, but you may not want an extra drive like taking up space here, so you can just do a NAS folder if you want. Both work. Both are super easy. So okay, that's it. That's the last thing you really need to know to have your server set up. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you're using Windows, Linux or Mac for your main computer you want to connect, just Google search how to connect to Samba and Mac. It shouldn't be that hard. It's the way you normally hook up to network stuff in Mac. Linux is the same setup. Just Google search how to connect the Samba server in Linux. It's pretty easy. But this video is trying to appeal to the largest audience. So, okay, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.